In today's slide presentation, the primary objective of this is to show the difference and comparison that can be made between Washington and DuBois, both two famous advocates for African Americans during the Progressive Era. Booker T. Washington was first born as a slave on April 5, 1857, and while he was working as a slave, he also attended school too. There he would eventually meet a friend that would go on to form Hampton Institute, and that friend would give him a scholarship there, which he would then proceed to go on and become a teacher there. Later on, he would be offered a job at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. Meanwhile, DuBois was born February 23, 1868. He grew up in Massachusetts, where he would then go on to receive a Bachelor's Associates from Fisk University and then proceed to become the first African American to earn a PhD at Harvard in 1895. He would then go on to teach at Atlanta University, and during his time there, he would write a lot of books about black injustice and discrimination in order to share them with other people. Now, for Washington, he was a conservative and he believed in economic incentive and development first. Instead of advocating directly for social and civil equality, he reasoned that it will come after the African Americans have proved themselves in their jobs and their participation in the economy. And so he would form the National Negro Business League to promote this. However, he was also controversial in his statement when he talked about how he believed the Africans were how he was quite controversial when he talked about in his famous 1895 Atlanta Compromise, when he made a statement that he believed that African Americans were as separate as the fingers in our hand to white politician people, which basically could be interpreted as him supporting segregation during those times. Now, mainly, Du Bois' philosophy was that he wanted to focus on the poverty and other social ills that were exclusive to African Americans that he witnessed while growing up. He attributed these ills to racism from the white folks. Not only that, he wanted to document and share the harsh lives of black people, and so he would write biographies and books about them. He was a radical and also advocated for social and civil inequality, and this would lead to him forming the NAACP. The forerunner of the NAACP would originate from his opposement and contrastment to Washington, as Du Bois formed the Niagara Movement in order to oppose it, and his racial accommodation theory that Washington supported. Now, the two things that are similar between these two black advocates is that they both advocated that higher education was a necessary path for African Americans in order for equality to be achieved. Both of them were very well educated, and one was a profound PhD graduate, and the other was the head of a university. They both believed that there was racism in the country and oppression by the white men that needed to be changed and addressed to the country. They just went about it in different ways. However, in the very end, they wanted to fight for equality and only wanted African Americans to have better conditions and equal rights in the United States. However, they contrast in many ways underneath the surface. Washington was a conservative, while Du Bois was a social radical. The former valued trading political and voting rights for economical rights, while Du Bois wanted all social and civil rights right now at the same time, because he believed that without that, there wouldn't be any equality, especially for jobs and in the economy for African Americans. Washington was born in slavery in the South, while the other in Massachusetts in the North. Now, since Washington was born in the South as a slave, it could be argued that he saw the struggles that African Americans had with wanting to have rights and how difficult it was not being able to achieve that, which is why he advocated for the racial accommodation theory. While on the other hand, Du Bois was born in the North where there was free will, a lot more freedom and education there for him. So that might be a reason why they were against each other.